Welcome back to Coloring Through the Bible. My name is Keegan Harkins, and today we're talking about Genesis chapter 32. This chapter tells us about Jacob getting to be reunited with his brother Esau. Now, the prospect of running into his brother actually terrifies Jacob because the last he had heard from his brother was that he was going to kill him. So as you can imagine, this is a pretty nerve-wracking trip for Jacob. And towards the end of his journey, he sends everyone off ahead of him, and he remains alone for a while. And I've noticed in my own life that when things are scary or unfamiliar, I tend to do the same thing. I tend to send all my loved ones away, metaphorically speaking. I kind of turn in on myself and I shut out the people around me. And that is absolutely the worst thing that you and I could do. God has given us our family, our friends, and a church family to help support us through those scary times. But Satan wants us to feel alone and frightened. He wants us to forget that Hebrews 13:5 says, God has said, never will I leave you. Never will I forsake you. See, Satan tries to convince us that our problems are a burden to God. But we can't let him fill our head with lies, because again and again throughout Scripture, God reminds us to cast all our cares on him, to go to him in prayer and tell him all of the things that we're worried about. Our worries don't burden God. He invites us to come to him with our problems and our praises. Being able to come to God anytime, in any place, with any problem is a wonderful, wonderful blessing that far too often we don't take advantage of. We shut everything out, including God, and kind of worry and stress and go in on ourselves, try to maybe handle it ourselves, to stand up in our own power. And all the time God is saying, I'm right here. Why don't you just let me carry that for you? We need to resist the urge to try to do it all ourselves. We need to not allow Satan to convince us that we can't bother God with what's going on in our lives. Yes, there are things going on all over the world that are most likely way more important than my petty little problems. But that doesn't mean God doesn't want to hear about my problems. It doesn't mean that I'm not important to God. And it doesn't mean you're not important to God. Nothing burns faster than a single twig burning this tiny little flame alone in a hurricane. God didn't design us to be alone. So when things get scary, let's run into the arms of God and allow him to chase all those fears away. And let's resist the urge to be that lone matchstick. Alone, we can only do so much. Together, we can withstand so much more. So I hope that when you read this verse, this chapter, you'll be encouraged to remember all the things God has done for us, and remember that he's always there, waiting for us to come and tell him our dreams, our struggles, our worries, and all the good things that have happened. So let's take advantage of that open communication with God and run to him. Have a truly blessed day, and I will see you tomorrow.